Okay, so again, just to review from the last video, we have our reference image, which has spatial extent, and we have our ground control points with our registration marks on them, and then I'm going to add our image that we want to georeference. Remember, to get that image to show, again, it's here in our table of contents, but we don't see it, we're going to go to our georeferencing, and we're going to click Fit to Display. And there we go. Now, one of the things that you can also do, you'll notice that this right here, this corner, zoom in on it right there, is this control point. Again, as I turn these things on and off, I can kind of see where things are. And I've got to get, in a sense, this corner to here. That's my first tie point that I'm going to work with. And in that case, one of the ways that you can approach that, and again, I'll show you a couple different aspects of it, is under the Georeferencing Toolbar, you'll notice that there are a couple of options in terms of how to migrate or move your image. The first one I'm going to do then is the Shift tool. I'm going to click on that, and I'm simply going to drag my image. You'll notice it kind of warps it a little bit here. But I'm going to get that area closer to where I want to be. Now, I also know that this and this kind of need to line up here and here. Okay, so if we want to do that, the other option I have here, in other words, I moved one side of it, but in this case what I have to do is actually scale it. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Scale tool, and I've clicked here, and I'm going to change by kind of dragging the scale. So in other words, I've changed the relative scale of the image. I'm going to go back to my Shift and again move part of it. I know that I've grabbed it by the hand here, and that's supposed to go here. And so I'm going to keep dragging that until I get about there. So I'm close here, I'm kind of close here, and I'm kind of close there. That allows me, in other words, I've kind of got everything into space right, in other words, approximately there. And now what I'm going to do is begin to actually tie the points together. Now, the main thing to remember is you always go on your goal image, that is the black and white image. I want to click on where I want to tie from that to my registration point. And so, for example, I'm going to do the first one here. Right here, I need to get this, that's where I'm going to start, to this. And again, I'm going to turn off the black and white just to show you. The registration mark is right here in the intersection, and I need to get the intersection on my image to the same place. Now, one thing that is useful in doing this is, again, in your windows, is to use the Magnifying View. And that allows me, and I'm going to change this to about 400%, and I'm going to move that over this general area. And what I can then see, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, is that by moving this right to there on the intersection, I can say, okay, there's my intersection, and right here, and I've got to get that, the middle of that, to this location. Now, the next thing that I'm going to use is the Add Control Point option. So I'm going to select that, and again, I'm first going to click on where I want on the black and white image. Okay, and I'm going to actually zoom in just a little bit more. We're going to go to about 600%. And again, I know that it's this intersection right here. I'm going to click right in the middle of that. Okay, and actually before I do that, I'm going to stretch this so I get just about to my... So there's my registration point, and there's the middle that I want. I'm going to click here, and that's green. And then what I need to do is move again this over, and again you'll notice that I went outside into the frame so that I can move this, and then I'm going to touch to the middle, and you'll notice there goes our snapping tolerance, brings us right in the middle, and I'm going to click on the middle, and you'll notice that the two of them have come together right here. And what you should notice though is that I now have a little bit of a blue line. It's the tiniest of blue lines right there. And that's the tie mark. Okay, so that's my first tie. Now what I need to do then is look and see what my next tie point is, and that's going to be over here. So now I'm going to look at my zoom tool, and I'm going to turn off my reference image, and I'm going to zoom in on this area right here. And what you'll notice is that I see that there's a road here and a road here, and I have the intersection of those marked. And so that's where I want to get my image to be. I'm going to go back, turn my image on again, and what I need to do is make sure, okay, that's where I want to go from, and I need to get to that registration mark. So again, I'm going to do my tie. I'm going to click on the intersection as precisely as I can. And you'll notice I'm using my crosshairs here to line up the two pieces. In other words, this horizontal road and that vertical road. So I click, and then again I have to go to where its actual location is. Bring it over it, and click. Now you'll notice that at this point something began to happen to our image. The image begins to, in a sense, warp. And remember when we talked about transformations, we now began to have a angle shift here. So we've got two control points. You'll notice again marked 2, and I'm going to just show you a couple other pieces up here. If you click here on the Georeferencing Toolbar, you'll notice now we have two links. The first link, it's X source, Y source, and then X map, Y map. Again, the map meaning the spatially referenced photograph. There is no residual because in fact we can stretch a line without any residual in X or Y, and that means, in other words, what's left, if you will. And you'll notice that the only transformation that's available to us is a first order affine transformation. Alright, so let's go back, close that up for a minute, and now I'm going to add, I'm going to shut this down for a second. We have these two, again we have 1 and 2, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work the outermost ones first. So I want to work with this one here next. And you'll notice that already, because of the way that I've organized my image, it's already pretty close to where they need to be. These are not terribly far off, which means also that the image is a pretty good image. In other words, there's not too much warpage that's going on. And so again, what we're going to begin to do is we're going to begin to look at our areas, and what I can see right here is that here's my actual intersection, and that's where I need to get to. So again, I'm going to click, use my best kind of guess. This is the middle, and we will tie these together. Okay, so we now have 3 reference points, and it's beginning to bring the entire image together. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to fairly quickly go through adding the last 3 of our tie points, and please note that what I'm doing is using the outermost control points or ground control points rather than using something on the interior before that. And so this is the next one that I'm going to work with. You'll notice though this one's a little bit off. Again, so here's the middle of the intersection, and there we go. You'll notice here also we can begin to see that there's a little bit of a residual left. In fact, if we look at it, you'll see that in this one, now we're beginning to see residuals because in fact it can't quite stretch all of it to that place. And again, you'll notice that I don't have I have a affine transformation, zero order polynomial, projective transformation, etc. A few more options are visible. And so again, the last one we're going to do here, we have 4, and now we're going to have 5 and 6. And again, I'm going to zoom in real quick. Okay, so we've got 2 more control points left, and we are going to tie this one. And finally, our last one here, remember we have to get to the corner of North Hall. I'm going to click there and tie it. Right there. And you'll notice on that one that there's quite a bit of a residual. It had a difficult time moving it within that transformation. So, in the next video, we're going to talk about what we do in the next steps. We'll see you